Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. This video is going to be a 12.0 midnight beta first raid tier, I guess you can say, early review for Warlock, talking about every raid fight in midnight. Well, midnight beta, but the first patch of midnight. The Void Spire, the Dream Rift, and March on Quel'Thanos. There are 9 bosses total, and heroic testing has been done already. Now, we'll talk about how Warlock felt in the raid, damage profiles, what spec looked good, and go from there. I will say there's mythic testing this week coming up, which is very important. So if you guys haven't seen heroic testing, there's videos on the channel here, obviously. But if you want to hop into mythic, I'll be streaming it this Thursday and this Friday. Two things to talk about though before we begin that. Number one, if you guys want early access to the 12.0 midnight beta Warlock spreadsheet, like always, it's live now for the tier 3 Felgar rank of Patreon or higher. It's live now on there, but also it comes out publicly before the patch releases the expansion. Don't worry about that. Not the end of the world, but it has raid testing on there, links as well as talent builds, gearing stuff, this and that, like usual. Patreon link down below if you want that. And also, worth mentioning here, typically every December on stream, we do a very large giveaway on Twitch. I do stream both on YouTube and Twitch, but this year it's going to be Twitch only for a handful of reasons. But I'll be streaming on both to clarify, but the giveaways here are on Twitch. We're doing a very large December sub goal, but honestly most of these we hit regardless up to about probably here, with giveaways, fun things on stream, all that. If you guys are around or want to hang out, there's gonna be a lot of giveaways. We have a lot of just goals here in general. A Blizz store pet giveaway. This is eating some food that I made a long time ago. A sword mount, non-Brutosaur, Taco Bell food giveaway, Epic Edition giveaway, a Brutosaur giveaway, a Collector Edition giveaway, a couple other giveaways possibly sprinkled in as well, depending on what I hear back from people, and also various things for gifted subs. There will be a large tree up here as well with ornaments if you guys want. Should be fun. We'll probably hit most of the giveaways regardless, just based on monthly subs and all that. Normal resubs as well as gifted subs do count. We'll be running a handful of like discounted promotional things, like discounted subs. You can do that through Twitch now on weekends, I believe. Right later today, I'm streaming. This video came out. But yeah, if you want to swing by and hang out, whatever, whenever we hit a giveaway, all that stuff, a goal, we'll give it away on stream live that day. And yeah, that's that. All right, let's jump into the boss raid reviews. Chimeras, I believe his name is the only boss in the Dream Rift raid. And to clarify for the rest of this video, there's no testing of Midnight Falls or something of the Cosmos. The last boss of Quel'Thanos and the last boss of the Void Spire. Those two are not going to be tested, so they're not in this video. However, Dream Rift is a one boss raid, and Chimeras is the one boss you're going to encounter. This fight has an upstairs phase and a downstairs phase. If you kill ads downstairs, they come up top. Need to be healed as well, and it sort of rinses and repeats for the most part, barring a breath that comes in, dodge the breath, so on and so forth. The big thing here, you can see in the back of the room that colossal horror ad running around. There's a handful of ad cleave, or ad cleave present in this fight, obviously. The colossal horror is like your larger priority target. It needs to be killed downstairs or upstairs, respectively, wherever you are. Obviously, the boss needs to die, and this fight is a really good example of a strong Destro cleave fight or a strong affliction fight as well, if affliction is suited in a way where you can move damage around quickly with priority targets. And currently it looks to be that way with Agony, Wither, and UA all doing a lot of damage respectively. That might change. However, at this point in time, I'd give the nod to Af and Destro here. There's a lot of movement in this fight, which Teemo is semi-mobile, but for the most part, with mixing in the spread cleave, the I guess semi-stacked ag cleave being pretty quick, and also with the changes in implosion and stuff in general, I don't think this is a very good demonology fight, barring demonology being, overtuned. If it's overtuned, sure, you can make it work. You could implode here, AoE here a little bit, but once again, the relevant cleave damage is on that larger colossal horror ad and the boss. Very good extra fight, very good AF fight, it seems to be, and it looks to be the case for Chimeras. Shifting gears and hopping into the Void Spire, Imperator Aversion is the first boss you're going to encounter, and typically when it comes to first bosses, they're usually a little more gimmicky than others. However, the gimmick here is not the freezing of the raid frames. The video's not frozen, just the boss froze when we pulled it, but I left it in because it was funny. The first boss version here is going to be it's more, let's say, tic-tac-toe boss. If you look here, there's basically 9 spots on the ground there, divided by those little, like, lighter blue lines on the ground. He's going to spawn ads. He's going to spawn these circles here too. You bring him onto an ad, it basically deletes that ad. You get 2 circles and you get 3 ads. So one ad's going to spawn, and when it does, it leaves a soak on the ground. A player needs to soak it, and it will basically mark that space. Don't let him mark 3 spaces in a row, like literal tic-tac-toe. If you do, everybody dies. If you don't, the boss dies. This boss is very undertuned when it came to early testing and stuff, but you can see, for the most part, there is some cleave in this fight with smaller ads spawning in. The larger ad in the back of the room here needs to be cleaved down, similar to the first boss we talked about a minute ago. Good Destro fight, good AF fight. Not probably very good for Demonology, with a lot of pet movement and things back and forth here. Destro and AF don't care as much. Good Prio cleave, Havoc windows, good dot cleave with Affliction, UA dumping, and in general, just hit the boss. Rinse and repeat. It's not very complicated. Yeah, just want to try to wipe on a version. Then again, I'm sure I will at some point, but regardless, I'd say good Destro fight, good AF fight. Demonology, we'll see where it goes. Now, I want to clarify, that is a tail. That is a tail on Verisius. He is the Patchwork-esque boss of the tier. He has legs and a tail. He's a Patchwork boss of the tier. For the most part, he is a single target encounter. He's going to spawn 2 walls, one on the left, one on the right. He's going to do like a Godzilla breath down the middle of the room when he reaches max energy, I think. It might just be timer based. Not really even sure. But he's going to spawn these small bugs that you have to drag to the walls to break them. It was sort of awkward mechanically, but besides that, it's just a single target fight. The ads don't have a lot of health whenever they do spawn. It's going to be the DPS check of the tier. With it being like the second or third boss in the raid, I don't think it's going to be very challenging. But regardless, though, it will likely be your single target DPS check. Which, when it comes to this fight, you're probably going to play whatever spec is best in single target. If you need some cleave on the ads, I guess you can play maybe a Destro or cleave or something like that. But for the most part, they really don't do a whole lot. They fixate players, and the player needs to bring them to a wall, which you see them some of them spawning in right here. They don't have a lot of health. When they're at the wall, you just kill him. It breaks the wall, and it gives you a space to left or right to move through and dodge his Godzilla breath. Besides that, it's rinse and repeat on this fight. It's going to be whatever's best in single target. There's a lot of movement in this fight with these circles spawning in probably too often. And there's LOS in the walls there as well. Whether it's Demo Destro or AF, they're all like semi-immobile at this point. It's life of a Warlock. I don't know, it is what it is. Whatever's best in single target here, you're going to play. Currently on beta, that's Destruction, followed by AF, then Demo, but that means nothing because tuning hasn't even started yet. Fallen King Salhadar. This is the guy that we fought a few months ago in Mana Forge Omega, and he's back in Midnight. He's a Fallen King, though. Not as hard as the previous version of this fight. It is predominantly single target based, or I guess single target cleave based. He's going to spawn a couple of orbs through desperate measures being cast here. One on the back, one on the right. You got to kill him. Kill him in a staggered fashion. Whenever they explode, they put a dot in the raid. If you kill them at the same time, they will double stack the raid. Shouldn't do that. Is it possible to heal through it? Yes, it wasn't that bad. But regardless, stagger kill them, cleave them down. Havoc, great here. Affliction, solid here as well, as long as Agony, Wither, and UA are tuned properly for good target swapping. He'll spawn other ads periodically, which need to be kicked. Kick them in the despawn. That's basically it. And guess what? That's the fight. There's these that come out, dodge this stuff. He'll do an intermission, I think every like minute 50 or so, where he takes more damage and spins around in a circle. Get out with these. That's the fight. He's going to spawn more orbs in 5 seconds, and you can see it lines up pretty well with every Havoc window. Now, Havoc's 20-second cooldown if you have the longer version of Havoc. So if you Havoc the boss, you can basically cleave one whole Void Orb down and hit the other one in a bit as well. This is a great Destro cleave fight. Good AF fight too, depending on tuning. Once again, Demonology here, a lot of spread cleave, not looking the best. If it's great in single target, tuning-wise, in a few months, maybe you'll play it here, but this is a Destro fight. This is an AF fight. Probably more so a Destro fight. And that more or less just feels to be the case right now. Veilgore and Ezerok, I believe, are what these two dragons are called here. One is dark, one is lighter, and they're both active from the start. The journal read like one would be active, one would fly away, but they're just here the whole time in phase 1, just chilling, taking full damage. If they don't share health. If they're more than 10% apart health-wise, like one's at 39 and one's at 50, it enrages, I think, both of them, and they do more damage. Keep them relatively even on health. It's going to spawn these large like circles spawn in that when they expire, put these little ads in the ground. You can grip them, CC them, mass cleave them down. They have very little health. So that's that big, semi-often hectic ag cleave. Besides that, there's 2 targets here. The orb's going to spawn a few times in phase 1. In the intermission, which we might get to here or might not, depending how long this yap goes, he'll spawn like a larger light-based ad, which is your main like prio target. There's a beam here as well. It shoots an orb out. touching this orb will reduce the radius around the actual orb itself. You can't like full soak it with one person. Just one touch of the orb takes one stack away, essentially. You can't soak multiple stacks. But once you enter the intermission, it will spawn like the light ad, whatever, in the middle of the room. You can stack this up for the most part and get a good big cleave here, catacleave, so on and so forth. And when the intermission begins, the dragons fly away. They're in the air and they're attacking you. So you use like the light shield on the ground to basically negate their barrage of mechanics, whatever it is. It probably won't even go that long because this is taking forever. But point being, it is a 2-target cleave fight where in the intermission they are immune and they land and you cleave them down again. Good Destro fight, good AF fight. Sticking with how other fights sound like, not a good Demo fight. 2 targets here. Demo's profile is single target based. It's stat cleave based. And honestly, stat cleave for Demo is not even as good as it used to be because Implosion was nerfed into the ground and it's a weird cooldown now. Here's the intermission with the ad spawning in. That big jellyfish thing. There it is. You just kill it. It's a blue Vectus from Old Deer. You just kill it. Does a lot of damage. All that kind of stuff. Get out with debuffs. And out of this phase, you'll land and the dragons will be attackable again. Kill them. That's the fight. Great Destro fight. Great AF fight. Yeah, Demo, pour one out for it. Light Blinded Vanguard is one of the later bosses in the Void Spire, and this fight reminds me of Demon Hunters from Man of Fortune Omega, and you can hear my tone changing. I didn't like Demon Hunters at all in Mythic. That was not a very good fight, unfortunately. This fight is a Council Cleave fight. There's not as much like mechanical overlap, barrage spew as there was on Demon Hunters on Heroic, it feels like, or certainly on Mythic, but we haven't tested Mythic yet. Basically, the bosses will reach max energy. Whenever they do some special mechanic. You got to kick things in the fight. They bubble as well whenever you lust, but you can mass dispel the bubble on the bosses, so don't lust on. Well, you can lust whenever you want, but be ready to mass dispel or some kind of way to remove it if you do lust, and keep that in mind. They bubble for 8 seconds, I think. There is one of the divine tolls being cast in the back, one of the abilities at max energy. You dodge them, they do paladin things, they silence you. If you hit them when they're got some aura up, it's paladin stuff, man. I don't know, it's a meat grinder. I don't remember half the fight. You just run around and hit them, and they eventually die. Unsurprisingly, good Destro fight. Good Destro fight, good AF fight. Not editing that out, it's 2 in the morning. This could be an okay demo fight because the bosses are mostly stacked here, barring whenever they hit max energy you pull them away, but there's still like 2 stacked targets. This could be a good like sleeper demo fight with Doom, Doomguard, and all that, just spreading dooms, popping a bunch of Doom brands, whatever, on targets. But honestly, I feel like just the way Destro and AF are built, it's probably just a better Destro AF fight. But that's sort of what I've been saying for the last 10 bosses, so I'll give a bit of a shout out to Demonology here being a sleeper pick, but this will very likely end up just being an AF or Destro fight. Not much else to it. When the third target's in the back of the room, Demo can't do a whole lot to it. Destro and AF still can. They have Wither damage, they have Havoc cleave, UA cleave, so on and so forth. Demo's just watching pets run back and forth between targets. So once again, I lean Destro or AF here. Demonology, little odd. Maybe it works out in the long run, but yeah, probably just lean in Destro or AF. And finally, we have Bellerin, which is going to be boss 1 out of 2 in March on Quel'Danos. We will not test the last boss in March on Quel'Danos, which is Midnight Falls. This is the only boss you're going to see in here. This was probably the best boss we tested out of any boss. This is a really good example of a fight where, like, I don't think weak auras be used in this fight very much in the first place. They'd be used to, like, I'm sure for certain mechanics to make things a little easier. Would you need them? No. But this is a fight where mechanics are telegraphed very clearly. I have a light debuff here. Other players have a dark debuff. Light debuff negates a bit of damage from light effects. Dark negates dark effects, so on and so forth. It's telegraphed very well. Visually, very cool fight as well. The boss will run away when you hit the bird to 0 and spawn an egg. You get some time to burn the egg in the intermission, but if you don't kill it, the boss is going to respawn. That's how the fight's designed. You have to kill the egg or burn the egg a few times in various intermissions to eventually get it to 0. When you do, that's when the boss eventually dies, the bird comes back, starts doing a few more mechanics and going from there. Now, this fight honestly could be any spec. There is Havoc Cleave. You'll see when we come out of the intermission here. Dropping pools around the room does spawn smaller eggs. So if you're looking for like spread cleave, it's going to be a Destro or AF fight. But at the same time, the eggs didn't have a crazy amount of health. And depending on it, if Demonology is like tuned in a way where it's your best single target spec, I could see you playing Demonology on this fight. For the most part, like, there's not a lot like running between mobs on this fight a whole lot. You're probably not even hitting the smaller eggs when they spawn. If you're playing Demonology, you're probably just hitting the boss and hitting the egg in the middle, right? But these soaks here and the one off to the right will spawn birds. And you can see these birds here need to be cleaved down. Destro, very good here. Once again, obviously have a cleave. Af can be good as well with dot cleave, right? So depending on where this fight ends up being tuned, I could see it maybe being a demo fight, but it's likely only if Demonology is just the best in single target by a good margin, because Destro and Af had the better damage profile here. It's very odd. I haven't really seen a tier like this in a while where it's all Destro or Af. It feels like that for the most part. Now, obviously, Mana Forge Omega, yeah, it was mainly a Destro tier, an Af Fire too, possibly, if you're memeing a little bit, but during raid testing, it seemed like a lot of Demonology play. Demo was simming very high, but this is a great example of when I said Demonology sims high, but in actuality, Destro's profiles are better on most of the fights in Mana Forge Omega, and it does similar damage. This is a great example of that was a great example of damage profiles, like sims and all that versus actuality versus reality. Like this might sim the highest, but in the end, if the profile is mediocre for all the fights, if Pet's got to run back and forth 10 times between targets as Demonology, probably not going to play it. And here we are. But I think this is more an example of like whether Demo's tuned high or not. This is the first tier going into it where I feel like even during testing, it feels like Demonology is not going to be played at all, or played very little. Just the profiles of all these fights don't suit Demonology that well, I don't think. And I don't really know if there's a way to counteract that, just the way the fights are designed this tier. We've usually had at least one, if not 2 or 3 patchwork fights for the last like 3 or 4 raid tiers. We have 0 this tier. You have 1 in the big lizard, Volcalox, whatever his name is, in Midnight, or in the Voidspire, right? So it's very odd, but it does seem like it's going to be a really big Destro and Af tier. Now, there's a lot of time in beta still. This could all change. So obviously, take this all with a grain of salt. This could all change, but at this current point in time, I give the nod to Destro and Af on basically any fight. Locke seems like a 2-spec class next tier as far as rating is concerned. That could all change with tuning, but I just don't think, looking at Demonology's profile and how it's designed, there's very much reach for it. This is a very, very reach, cleave heavy tier. And I'd say probably the heaviest we've seen in a long time. Like, this is better suiting for Demonology or for Destruction than any raid or any few raids in a very long time. You can get great heavy cleave on basically every boss, right? And if that's the case, I think you're looking at playing a lot of Destro this tier, or a lot of Af as well. Currently, Affliction looks pretty good when it comes to having Agony, Wither, and UA tuned in a way where like their damage is relevant and it does damage in a fast-esque kind of manner. I think UA can be buffed again. It was already over-nerfed a little bit with the 75% nerf it got, but we'll see where it goes. It's still bugged with a bunch of modifiers, and Dark Lair is still bugged, not extending it. So that needs to be fixed, hopefully before Mythic testing this week. But either way, I think Locke's profile, like Locke in general, looks pretty good for 12.0 Midnight. But that's only if you're playing Destro and or Af. If you're playing Demo, you'll probably be fine. But is it going to be played in World Burst in many of these fights? I'd say very few, if at all, based on current damage profiles here. Not looking at tuning, just current raw damage profiles. So yeah, that's that. See where it goes. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully it gave y'all a bit of a better look at how Warlock is maybe situated heading into the first tier of Midnight. Now, it's still early. It's December 1st. We have 3 months till expansion launches, basically. No. Over 3 at this point. I guess if you don't count early access. But either way, we got a while still. But the holidays are here. New Year's is here. And honestly, we're going to be getting close to pre-patch and in pre-patch sooner than we think. So I want to make these videos early. They're fun to make in general. If you guys haven't seen testing of the heroic stuff, I have those videos on the channel here. And I'll have Mythic testing up later this week, as well as streaming it on Thursday and Friday here on Twitch and on YouTube. If you guys want links to any profiles or Patreon links, Discord links, all that stuff down here, as well as down here, as well as up there. And like always, a huge thank you to all my supporters on Patreon for all the support. Guys, thank y'all just a million times. Like always, I greatly appreciate it. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing for you guys, making content and surviving as a Florida man. And I appreciate it. So if you guys made it this far, once again, appreciate you watching the video. We're like 3K subs away from 100K on the channel here. Probably going to hit it by the time Midnight launches, which is insane. If you guys aren't subbed, you want to sub earlier, that'd mean the world to me. Or sub now, that'd mean the world to me. But if you don't want to, that's okay. Love you all the same. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Got a lot of cool things coming down the line in the next few weeks and stuff for the stream, for YouTube, all that. They haven't talked about yet fully from Pump 4. So stay tuned, and I'll catch y'all again soon on stream. Peace.